Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, there we are. Hey, good evening, Facebook family. Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose. With me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Bryan+Post. Hope everyone's had a fantastic day today. In tonight's episode, we're going to go ahead and dig right in because I actually have another issue I'll address too if I get through this one in enough time. So tonight's episode, we're going to talk about what to expect when your adopted children are grieving. Hello, Brenda. Thank you so much for the sweet birthday wishes. This question comes from Jill, and I just want to read the question because I feel like it's really comprehensive, and it gives us some good ideas and some things to talk about. We are following this closely as we're adjusting our parenting styles. What would be a realistic relationship for us to have with our older son, given his tremendous loss and all that he has been through? So that's a very important question right up front. So what would be a realistic relationship for us to have with our older son, given his tremendous loss and all that he has been through? In many ways, we've had a very successful adoption. The two boys, biological brothers, came to us 9 years ago. They've been thriving in school and have many friends. But we have also had behaviors from our older one since he became a teenager. And I can see how my past and my husband's past play a role in this. I can see that we haven't given our older son enough of the right support to grieve his loss in the last few years as he became a teenager. Okay. In the early years, it was easier to give him this support because he was so direct about his loss. Oh, that's interesting. We've recently made a lot of progress thanks to the post support, but I also want to be loving and realistic and empathetic with where he is coming from in bonding to us as adoptive parents. Our older son was 6. Our older son was 6 when he was adopted from Ethiopia. He went through. So I'm going to just go out on a leaf here. Hey there, Ashley. I'm going to go out on a leaf here and on a limb, on a leaf, could be on a leaf, and say that, Jill, this is probably a transracial adoption. So I would really encourage you guys right up front to check out the podcast June in April by April Dinwoodie, Dinwoodie. Just look up on Facebook, June in April. April is a transracial adoptee herself and has a very thought-provoking, helpful podcast that she does for transracially adopted families. The poverty that followed as well, Rhonda Rorta has done some great work in their voices, stories and perspectives on transracial adoption. Pick up two. I think Rhonda's got 3 books, so maybe pick up those 2. That's Rorta, Roorda, in their voices. The poverty, our oldest son was 6 when he was adopted from Ethiopia and went through 3 significant life events. Prior to coming to us, the loss of his father at age 3, the poverty that followed, being relocated and cared for by his father's side. Violent uncle, kind grandmother, birth mother does not raise no children. After both sides of the family agreed that the international adoption would be the best situation, he was relinquished to an orphanage at age 5 with his younger brother age 2. We adopted them 9 months later and took them home. What is realistic for us to have as a relationship with him as we adjust to a new normal, where we back off when expecting him to celebrate holidays, to allow him to pull back from the family a little and allow him to grieve? Thank you for all that you do. Okay, Jill, that's a fantastic question. And so right up front, again, what's coming up for me is that you are feeling conflicted around maybe the transracial things as far as his Ethiopian heritage and then him being here in an American family. And when you say, what is realistic for us to have as a relationship with him as we adjust to a new normal where we back off on expecting him to celebrate holidays? to allow him to pull back from the family a little and allow him to grieve. That's I think everything that we need to really focus on is right there in that last sentence. If you know that holidays are challenging for him, the best thing to do is to talk about it. Talk about why they are challenging for him. Acknowledge why they are challenging for him. And maybe even, that's a better word, acknowledging is a better word than talking about it. Some teenagers may not want to talk about it. And he may. You said he was very open early, so maybe he does. But acknowledge, son, we get that this is a hard time of year for you, and we love you and we care about you, and I know that you probably have a lot of feelings that you don't even understand and maybe questions. If you want to ask us questions, we're here to process these questions with you, to do our best to just be supportive. We don't want to push you to have to be a part of the holiday festivities if you are feeling sad. But we love you and you're a part of our family now, and we want to include you. But just, we'll back off, but just know that you're wanted in our home. We are glad you're here, but we also know that you have a lot of feelings about holidays, and we are here to discuss them with you and work through them with you. That's the conversation that needs to happen. So when you're in I get the sense that you're probably already having that conversation. But when you say the new normal, I don't think you have to see that as normal, Jill. I think you have to see, hey, thank you, Mary. I think you have to see grieving as a process. It is not an outcome. It is not an end destination. It is a process. So you see his grieving and these opportunities. In fact, let me reframe it. Let me reframe it for you. See the grieving and see the pain and see the backing off or the pulling back from the family. See that as opportunities for healing. See that as opportunities for growth. See that as opportunities for helping him work through some loss that he hasn't worked through yet. And so if you see it as an opportunity to work through loss that he hasn't worked through yet, then instead of seeing it as a new normal, as in it's something you have to accept, you see it as a process that your son is going through that is a part of his development and is a part of his experience, his history, and ultimately the loss of his culture. Now that's number 2. What things do you guys do around the holidays that get him involved with the Ethiopian community? And if you don't live close to an Ethiopian community, where are Ethiopians that you can interact with? Where's an Ethiopian restaurant that you can go to where you're not only celebrating his heritage and his culture, but you're also acknowledging the loss of his heritage and his culture around the holidays especially. It can be really difficult and really confusing for transracially adopted families to know how to blend multiculturalism. But you have to understand, it's just multiculturalism. And so you take a multicultural perspective. What things do you do around the holidays that are there to recognize his Ethiopian heritage? Make that important to you. Make it a part of your life. Make it no longer just his culture. Make it your culture too. Make it no longer just his grieving process. Make it your grieving process too. And when I say make it your grieving process too, grieve for the little boy who is now yours, who has gone through so much loss. Have that same sadness for him. And you know what? Maybe if he's struggling, maybe you guys struggle with him. Maybe instead of, maybe you let him set the temperature for the holiday and how it's going to be handled. And what if one holiday season, you just said, you know what, son, we want to be really respectful of where you're at and what you're feeling. And because we love you, we want to honor you through that process. So you let us know what you want to do. If you don't want to put up trees and have presents, we're not going to do that this year. We're just going to honor you. If you want to have some kind of Ethiopian celebration, let's do that. So give him some of that control and let him set that thermostat. And what that's doing is it's making it okay for him to have his feelings. And it's also him perceiving you guys as making it okay for him to have his feelings. And it's giving you guys an opportunity to honor himself, honor his process, and honor your process, and honor his process through you. I talk about that sometimes with helping adoptees grieve. They don't know what it feels like to have an adult grieve for them. They don't know what it feels like to have an adult cry for them, to have an adult apologize for them. Most children don't, unless they've had an adult do it. Most children who come from trauma backgrounds don't get that opportunity. So opening up that window for him through your own process can go a long ways. And then I'm just going to say, trust the process. I think you guys are on the right track. Keep the communication open. Keep the connection going. Hey, Brian. Hey, Gareth. And Gareth says this should be year-round and not just during the holidays. Absolutely. And I think because I don't know what particular holiday may be triggering this question, because this is just a recent question from Jill. But I wholeheartedly agree with what Gareth's saying. Grieving is year-round. It is an all-the-time process. And so making that an opportunity can be making that opportunity open year-round whenever you see it is what's important. And keep loving him. Keep loving him, and keep letting him know that you love him, and keep letting him know that you honor him, and keep letting him know how strong he is to have gone through everything he's gone through, and give him his space when he needs to, but just keep loving him, and everything's going to be okay. You'll have the relationship that you want and that you desire. You just have to have trust and have faith that by being open and giving him a little space, and not always making those demands from your own anxiety, actually will lessen your anxiety and lessen his anxiety and bring you guys closer together. So that's it for this evening. I will pick up on that. It was a sibling rivalry question that I had that I'll pick up that tomorrow. So remember, in any given situation, we always have two choices. We can continue to react from our same past imprints of stress, fear, and overwhelm, or we can stop. We can take 3 to 10 deep breaths, and we can choose love. And also another reminder, Post Parenting Camp 2019 is here. You can get the early bird discounts now. Just go to postparentingcamp.com. I'd love to see you out here this summer, August 16th and 17th. It's going to be an amazing, amazing experience. I guarantee you'll be, bar none, the most powerful parenting experience you've ever had in your life, because it will be not only cognitive, but it will be also very emotional. And you can bring your children. So, and then if you haven't gotten your free copy from Fear to Love, please go to feartolovebook.com and get your free copy of From Fear to Love. God bless you. Big Papa loves you. And I pray for you guys every evening, that when you wake up in the morning, as you lay your heads down tonight and wake up in the morning, that you wake up restored, refreshed, and re-energized. But most of all, restored, free from fear, free from stress, and restored with love and faith. And that's it. We'll see you tomorrow.